Have you ever tried working with a global data set and you found it very difficult to center your data on the Greenwich, which is a 0-degree longitude? If that is your story, if that's your challenge, then this video proves to be one that will be definitely very useful and very, very effective for your work. I recommend that if you are new here, you subscribe, join the family, and we develop ourselves together. We grow in learning Python. And so for today's video, what we try to look at is definitely trying to center our data set on the 0-degree if that has been a challenge. So what we do first is to import our package Xarray again as XR. And beyond that, we call a sample data set. So I have in a folder named error 1.5, the zonal wind from 2016, and there's at 00 UTC alone. So we run that, and then we try to load our data package as well. Then from there, we would want to see what the data contains. So I named that EWS_U. Okay. And so we can see the longitudes spanning from 0, we have 1.5 in intervals of 1.50 all the way to 358.5. But then what we want to do is to be able to, make the longitudes start from the negative components all the way through to 0 to the positive aspect. And so that would be in 180 separations. So we can also look at just the longitudes alone and we see exactly what we are referring to. And so there's the data set. Now we have two different ways we could do this. In fact, there could be multiple, but then these are two simple ways. So what we are doing first is to reassign the coordinates. Now this EWS_U gives us the coordinates. In this case, this longitude is a coordinate because it stores a value. And this is, I think I've explained this before, the difference between coordinates and dimensions. The dimensions are just more like placeholders telling us what kind of dimensions on which the data will be distributed, or what kind of levels or what kind of orientations our data will be distributed. But then the coordinates are then the values that these various dimensions are storing. Exactly. So we can just reassign the coordinates, and by that we are passing in a new parameter. We're calling the keyword longitude again within the assigned coordinates, and we reassign that to this. We call the longitude component, that's the longitude values. First add 180 to it, and then find the modulus of that. So after adding 180 to all the longitudes, we find the modulus of that per 360, using 360 as our divisor. And then that would give us the various remainders. We can then subtract 180 from that, and that would bring us back to a point of having the negatives and then the positives. And when we are done with that, this doesn't automatically sort the data. So if you try to visualize the data, it would produce an error because the keys are not really sorted out or arranged properly. So we pass this as EWS_U1, and then we can then sort this EWS_U1 data set, which is the one that's the same data that has just reassigned longitudes. We sort them by the new longitudes, which is what we've defined over here. So we sort them by the same EWS_U1 at longitudes. And then this gives us a sorted data on the longitudes. Okay, so we allow it a certain time to run. Exactly, and then that produces a EWS_U1P, which is the variable we give for the sorted data. And so if we go back here and rerun the EWS_U1P, we can check the longitudes, and we see that the longitudes have now changed into a sorted form of the negatives to the positive. So if you look at where the longitudes are, we have the longitudes now sorted out from negative 180 all the way to the positive values of 178.5. Okay. And that's alternative one. for alternative 2, which is again, I just decided to sort of copy the data again. So we have this AWS underscore U2 being the same data set. And then the next approach is, instead of going by the reassigning coordinates, what we just do is to pull out their longitudes using the array format. Okay, so the AWS underscore U2, which is the same data set we read, we pull out the longitude and then reassign it to the same longitude, but this time making use of the where argument, that wherever the longitudes are less than 180, they should be changed. I mean, when we use this approach, sorry, but this, what we mean is that wherever the longitudes are less than 180 should be stored or kept, and then the alternative should be set as none. That would have been the default. But then, since we want to place new values for the alternative, what we do is to set the alternative values. So the ones that do not fall under less than 180, which are the ones that are above 180, what we do is to subtract 360 from them, which is the same as what we did in the reassigning code. So we subtract the 360 from the values that are beyond 180, because those are going to be the negatives when we split it into equal halves of 180. And so we use the where approach. We pick the ones that are less than 180, we maintain them, and then the ones that are above 180, we subtract 360 from them. And after doing that, we still have to sort again. So we then call a new variable EWS underscore U2P, and then we pick the same EWS underscore U2 value we have with the new longitude stored in them. We sort by the longitude, and then that should give us the same output just as we got for the very first one. And so these are two different ways of doing the same thing. Well, I would easily go with the second option because that's easier. And Xarray already has a where method that's built within it, so it's quite easy to use that. And so when we type in the EWS underscore U2P, we have the same outputs as the longitude this time with a negative and positive. And that's simply how to recenter your data on the Greenwich, which is the 0 degrees. I believe you've enjoyed this session. If you have any question, leave them in the comments and the team would address it. If you are new here, don't forget, like we always say, don't forget to subscribe, be part of the family, and kindly share within your network. I mean, let's grow this platform. Let's make sure the programming components that we learn or that we apply to our various works is widely spread and people get to understand and get to know some of these things. There are lots of people who are struggling with simple things they could do in the Python package that they probably don't know about it. But if you find yourself sharing to somebody, you could be helping somebody also become very better at this and to do some complex work in very simple time. Have a wonderful day and be great. See you next time. Bye-bye.